Joining me is the panel, Michael Costa, former Victorian Liberal President, and Michael Costa, former Labor New South Wales Treasurer. Michael Costa, several Labor MPs today singling out these protests, the pro-Palestinian ones, as a sign that Australia is getting the same dangerous hate politics here as in the US. Are they right?
Yeah, absolutely they're right. I mean, the freedom we have to demonstrate in this country is being abused and misused by the extreme left, and what we've seen is a litany of these demonstrations in the name of freedom and democracy. These are just incitements to violence against Jews, against Israel. They're hate-filled. And, Andrew, it has now come time in Australia for there to be laws in relation to demonstration, because no one knows what the limits of the right to demonstrate are. The left keeps saying we have a right to demonstrate. Yes, but you don't have a right to incite hatred against Jewish people. There is a line that needs to be drawn, and state governments, because they have the power, now have to start putting together laws to show the limits of demonstrations, which starts with no hate speech, no incitement to violence, no incitement to violence against Jewish people. They're three things to start with, and slowly we can get some confidence back in our freedom and our democracy, because the police seem to have no idea what they're entitled to police and what they're not entitled to police, and we can't let this hatred of Jewish people continue in this country, Andrew, any longer.
Well, I'd actually go further, Michael Costa. Drew Pavlou asked the police officer why he was being threatened with a breach of the peace when he had protesters forcing the Labor attendees to this meeting to go through a narrow corridor escorted by police, where they're being yelled at, faces stuck in their face. I mean, how does the right to free speech include intimidation close up like that?
Well, it doesn't, but I don't agree that we should be having restrictions on demonstrations. There's already rules about demonstrations. The problem here is a policing problem. Hamas is a designated terrorist organisation. If you've got a sign up there advocating for Hamas, the police have the authority and the ability to take that down. The problem is police management has decided somehow this notion of keeping the peace outweighs the other concerns that people have about people supporting terrorism and anti-Semitism. There's a failure of police management. They've got laws now to deal with it. A permit to protest is not a permit to engage in anti-Semitism and pro-terrorist activity. And that exists under the current law, Andrew. They're just not enforcing it. It's weakness at the policing level and probably at the political level. And when I say the political level, I mean...
The laws are working well, Michael.
Sorry? The
laws are working well.
Well, that's policing that's the problem. Laws, if you don't have somebody to enforce laws, they never work. Albo, for example, he's got his own office, parliamentary office, paid for by the taxpayer, where he's condoning, protesters, stopping people going in and doing parliamentary business that's funded by the taxpayer. Leadership is what's missing here, not laws. And the police, I heard on that video, they said we didn't have the resources. Well, why don't they have the resources? And in fact, if you look at that circumstance there with the synagogue, there is no reason that the police couldn't have arrested those people within existing laws. And it proves once and for all that this is straight out anti-Semitism, has nothing to do with Israel. They could have protested in front of the Israeli embassy. They chose to go down there. That tells you what these people are really about.